Alright, hey guys, so today we're going to the video. We're going to go over a couple updates, mainly the layout and a couple additions, 2 additions. So I switched to O-gauge track with 036. From what I'm finding, this was the D190 dealer display was a 4x8, but I messed up. The original plan called for 031. I went with 036. Kind of glad I did, kind of glad I didn't, because it overhangs ever so slightly, which is fine with my diesels because they're pretty light. But this edition does not go around the top of the loop. As you can see, the boiler cap fell off again because I had glued it. It's just sitting over on the edge of the desk. But it's a 736. I ordered a new pilot for it. That was $15. I bought materials to make the handrails. That was $3. The engine was $40. The front and rear trucks are about $45 with shipping and tax. I need to get a couple O-gauge switches. I'm going to try and put in my 027 switches if I can, and have the two sidings right here for operating accessories. But this upper loop, the track is staying the same, but I'm changing out the trestles from the semicircle a little bit more, probably about halfway through this curve, all the way across. I'm going to get a 2x4 piece of plywood, and I have a ton of 2x2. I did not cut this anywhere near straight. This was just a test fit, but it's roughly 5 inches, and this is not quite 5 inches, but the plywood's going to add another ½ inch, and all my rolling stock already clears the 110 trestles, so that'll be good. And then I got a ZW. I traded the red 44-ton switcher plus some cash for this. But with the 736, I kind of cheated a little bit. I had this old trailing truck from, I think it was pretty sure it was a 242. But I'll show you guys. I bent the hook up and around, so when it goes underneath, it just hooks on. The E unit is kind of finicky, so I have it in forward only, since I don't have any switches right now that actually are O-gauge. Then just lift it up slightly. And there we go. And that's on. I tried cleaning it, lubing it, but it's still kind of jerky. Probably gonna have to clean the wheels. I'm not going to take that any farther, but eventually I'm going to pick up the plywood tomorrow and cut some supports before I go to work. So it'll probably be a couple days, but I have more grass mat. I'm going to slope down with cardboard, staple the cardboard to the plywood, and then just tape it down to the desk, or just the grass mat, doesn't really matter, and then slope the grass mat down to make a valley. And then I might buy a couple tunnel portals and just kind of glue them to the cardboard, if that makes sense. But all this has been ours track except for that uncoupling track. I have to rewire the controller to the coaling station. The operating gate man works. This signal was hooked up, but I have to adjust the spring for the O-gauge track for the weight difference. But I might try and shim the 027 switch up for now, but let me move this. There's a slight difference in length between 027 and O-gauge straights. As you can see, there might be enough play in the track. I'm going to put the camera down for a minute and see if that'll even work. And there goes the top of the cooling station. There we go. Gotta pull these pins out. I'll show you guys how to widen the track for the O-gauge pins. But to get track pins out, you just want to grab them with a pair of pliers, or I use wire cutters and just use the crimping side that's perfectly round, and you just grab onto it, twist it, and pull it. And then to widen them, I use just a standard pick, and just kind of push it in where the joiner goes, and just wiggle it back and forth, spin a little bit. With switches, you want to be really careful not to misalign the tracks from the clips on the base. But that should work. And I just knocked my signal over. Crud, one of the pins fell into the uncoupling track. Might have to... There we go. See how that works. Not quite. Darn it. Well, now I have an extra straight, we can just disconnect the uncoupling track and then take the O-gauge pins out of it. Those are O-gauge, okay. The O-gauge pins are slightly larger. Not too much, but it is enough of a difference. And the Menards pins are slightly different from Lionel pins, but they are interchangeable. But if you're having troubles getting the O-gauge pins in after you widen it, what you want to do is, I'll show you before I do it, is put your thumb right above where the track clips into the base, like right there. Stick it in right there. And then take a screwdriver and just tap it in. Yep, there we go. And then it should look like that. That might be sticking out a little far, but we'll test fit it before we put it in. I am going to invest in a tripod next week, so you guys, I don't have to put you guys down. Keep slipping. Oh, nope, there it goes. And just fill out. There we go. That looks fine. But the 736 does have magnet traction, and I bought it because it was only 40 bucks, and I like restoring trains and computers. And for a 736, 40 bucks is incredibly cheap. And it didn't take any work to get it working. It just worked. Granted, it was very, very sluggish. Alright, okay, so that's joined, and the track tops are good. and level with each other. This side still has 027 pins. I don't have any more O-gauge pins, I don't think. I might have picked up a set at the train store when I was there last. But 027 pins will work. You just have to be very careful and shim up the switch. I might move the trestles a little bit, because now the track is angled on the well, I can't remember which axis it's called. I mean, it's been a long day. There we go. Let's push the switch back, and then we'll go ahead and put my diesel on. We'll do my switcher first. I'll just put it close to the switch. And the 726, I don't know the exact weight, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5-6 pounds. Really heavy, which is why it doesn't work on the upper loop, on the upper section of the loop. Alright, so there's that. Nope. See, that's what I mean is you need to shim the switch up because this whole section's rotating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. These are all CDs I got for free that I don't want. Like, I could use them now, like I am. But if you use a couple to raise it up, I'm not saying it's going to work, but it should. It's going to work better than none. Alright. And it derailed right there, so basically what I'm doing is just taking a CD, sliding it in. I might need to add 3 right there just to make sure it's level. That was the dummy. So we'll take a GP20, which weighs substantially more, so it might not have as big of an issue, but there's almost no weight over the rear truck, so it might. There we go. Nope. But yeah, I'll go ahead and... I'm not going to use the switches right now. I'm just going to put a 30-inch straight there, just as one single section. And then probably order in some switches. So if you guys like to see an update video on the progress of the layout as I go, I'd be very happy to do that. I'm looking at picking up at least one big engine next week, because my local train store has the 1990 release of the 700E Hudson, and I would really love to get that. So yeah, if you guys like to see more, just comment down below, like the video. Yeah, you guys enjoy your night.